Hi, welcome to episode 176 of the Corner of Knit and Tea. I'm Laura, also known as Fluffy K on Ravelry, Fluffy Kira on Instagram and Twitter. I blog over at thecornerofknitandtea.com, which is where this episode and every episode's show notes will be. I have an Etsy shop called The Corner of Knit and Tea, where I sell my hand-spun yarns. And we have a Ravelry group called The Corner of Knit and Tea. Hi, how are you? It is Sunday, March 25th. I am doing a quick recording before I go off to a spinning Sunday. It is about 9:30 in the morning. I have my tea, I have my knits and spins, and I am running around trying to get everything done before I leave. I hope that you have had a wonderful week. It has been kind of quiet here. My boss went to Washington, D.C. to do his continuing legal education. So he was gone a good chunk of the week, which meant it was quiet for me. Things are getting busy at both work and then also with my tech editing. So I have been a busy bee this week. And I'm trying to think what else. There has not been too much else going on. Yesterday was a nice day. Mostly I hung out around the house, but I got some exercise and I made some good progress on knitting and spinning projects. So it was nice. We're getting ready to go into a busy spring. My husband runs half marathons and he has a bunch of half marathons coming up. Next week is Ply Away, which is Ply Magazine's spinning convention. So if any of you are planning to be here, it is held in Kansas City. I am super lucky because I get to go in my home state and my home city. If any of you are traveling, please come say hi. I have classes on Friday and Saturday, and I will be around the marketplace. And if you're interested in meeting up, please send me a message on Ravelry or Instagram or wherever, and we can meet up. I already have a lunch with one of the podcast viewers. She and I met last year, and we're going to meet up again this year. And I'm super excited. I am taking a class about getting the most out of my wheel with Stephanie Gustad, and then I am taking a art yarn class with Esther, who is Jazz Turtle. And I'm super excited about that. I've always wanted to make coils and beehives, even though I'm not a huge... Well, I've never really spun art yarn, and I don't know what I would do with it, but I've always wanted to learn how. So those are the classes I'm taking in the market, and that will be Friday and Saturday next week. So I should podcast on Sunday as normal, and I will give you a little recap and show you what I got at the marketplace. So that's next week, and then next month we have the knitting convention. We have a biannual knitting convention here in Kansas City, and this year's hosts, knitting celebrities are Franklin Habit and Edie Ekman, so that is who I will be hanging out with in April. So, like I said, things are starting to sort of heat up for the spring. They're not warming up as much as I would like outside. I tried to go and exercise outside yesterday, but it was in the high 40s and it was a bit cold, so I came back and used the treadmill. So, I would like it to be just a smidge warmer, but I suppose pretty soon I'll be complaining it's too hot outside and I have to stay inside in the air conditioning. So, let's get started with today's episode. I am drinking tea today. I am drinking something called White Tower. This is from the Critical Role tea collection from Adagio. This was my husband's gift to me. It is vanilla green and cinnamon. And so it looks like this. And I am drinking it in a travel mug. Very boring, but it's my Starbucks travel mug because I'm going to rush out the door when I'm done recording. So I decided to put it in a travel mug to keep it warm and so that I can take it with me. I added some honey because my allergies are starting to act up, probably because everything's starting to bud outside. So I have not tried this one before. Ooh, that's really nice. It's got a nice cinnamon, of course, because I put honey in it. I find honey overpowers almost everything, and so I don't usually use honey unless I really want it for my throat. My throat's just a smidge sore because I'm all congested. So, but that's pretty nice. So I can recommend that one. If you're into tea fandoms, you should check out Adagio because they have all kinds of teas for pretty much any show, movie, fandom you could come up with. So let's talk about the knits. I only brought 2 this week. I showed you my socks last week. I did not get very far on them, so I did not bring them back. But I did bring back the sweater that I am working on for Miles. And I made a ton of progress. This was the main thing I worked on this week. And as you can see, it's looking very sweater-like. The pattern that I'm using is Simon and Simonetta from Elena Nodell. Sadly, she passed away late last year, but I do love her patterns and I purchased a bunch, so I am working on them. This is Miss Babs Yowza, and it is a skein that I purchased in 2014 when I went to Maryland Sheep and Wool. I know that it was mismarked because it was marked as batshit crazy. But that is a skein with reds and purples and stuff, so I'm sure it's not that. I think it is shaken, not stirred, so it looks a little bit like that. It was marked as a babette, so I'm sure it's not quite right, but I really, really like it. It's blues and greens and some charcoal grays and maybe a little bit of brown. It's kind of hard to tell. Anyway, so this is a really cute top-down sweater. It's got kind of some garter detailing in the middle, and then it's got this really cool slip stitch detailing on the sleeves. I don't know if you'll be able to see that. It is a very variegated yarn, so of course a lot of the patterning will not show up too terribly well, so I tried to pick something pretty simple. Like I said, it's just got this little garter panel in the middle of the body. I am pretty close. I'm probably less than an inch away from starting the hem ribbing, and then I will just have the sleeves and it will be done. It's working up super fast. And super cute, and I will not give this to them till later in the year, probably probably October for his birthday. I'm knitting the 24-month size, and I think it will be fine because he runs on the small side. So that is one of my projects for this year, and using up some yarn that was in stash, which makes me feel very, very happy. And I am happy to use this skein for him. I bought it not sure what I would do with it. It was my first time at a Miss Babs booth, and so I am just as happy to have it clothe him. So I plan to finish the body this week and maybe one of the sleeves. I might not finish the whole thing this week. We'll have to see. Towards the end of the week I will be at Ply Away, so I will have far less knitting time, so we'll see how that goes. But I am really enjoying that project, and I'm really pleased with the way it's coming out. The second thing that I did this week is I cast on a sweater for myself. I don't know, I just got a bug to do it, and early in the week I was having not a great week, and I decided, you know what, I'm just going to do what I want. So earlier this year I bought a kit from Craftsy. It was a total steal. It's called the Wolf River Sweater by Melissa I don't know how to pronounce it. I think it's Shaswari. She is Dandelion Girl on Ravelry. It's a little bit hard to see, but it is kind of a boxy sweater with some lace detailing on the front. And Craftsy had the kits for a steal. I think I paid about $30 for the yarn and the pattern. So, I mean, you never get... you can never get a sweater for that price. I am working with, it is in a bulky weight yarn, and the yarn that I am working with is Cloudborn Wool Bulky Twist in Slate Heather. It is my first time really doing a project in Cloudborn. I like it. It's not super soft, but it's not super scratchy either, and since it is a lace and a big boxy sweater, I would have to wear something underneath it anyway. So, but I'm really liking it. It is a dark slate gray heather, and kind of it looks very oatmeal-y. And I do not have a sweater in this color. I have never had a sweater in this color. Well, I take that back. I guess I did have a sweater in this color, but I got rid of it because it was alpaca. And even though it was beautifully soft alpaca, it made me itch with the fire of 1,000 suns. So I donated it. So this is going to be my gray sweater. Like I said, this is a bulky weight sweater. I figured this would be a good instant gratification. And I am modifying the pattern. The pattern calls to be worked front and back separately, and then sleeves. I believe the sleeves are picked up and knitted down. I decided to knit the body all in one piece. Up to the armpits, where then I will, or the underarms, where I will, armpits, haha, where I will, then split for the front and back, and then I can work the sleeves down. So this is as far as I got this week, which is a good probably almost 5 inches. It was 3 inches of 1x1 twisted ribbing, and then I went through 1 repeat of the chart, so you're just starting to see how that is coming together. And I have quite a few more repeats to do this week. Other modifications that I made, I decided to do the back in plain stockinette. So I decided just to do the lace patterning on the front, not on the back as well, to sort of, so a couple things. First of all, because I decided to do it in the round, I knew I should probably remove 4 stitches from the suggested cast on. Those would be the seam allowance stitches where you would seam on the sides, but since I was doing it all in the round, I knew I should remove those. I decided not to remove those from both front and back because I liked the full pattern repeat on the front and the way it was set off at the edges. And so what I decided to do was I decided to pull the 4 stitches out of the back. So my front and back are slightly different sizes, but since I am not doing the lace patterning on the back and I'm doing stockinette on the back, I think that will be fine. So that is what I'm doing. I'll just have to keep it in mind as I get up towards the shoulders so that I do the correct amount of sleeve, do a couple fewer sets of decreases on the back so that the shoulders will match up. But that is what I am doing so far, and that is this sweater. So far the pattern is well written and easy to follow. There are both chart and written directions. My only complaint about the pattern thus far, and I do not want to offend anyone, but the pattern has some Bible verses in it, and that's really not my thing, and kind of annoys me a little bit when I buy a pattern and I get some religion in it. I just feel like that's not entirely appropriate. So I don't know how much I'll be knitting this designer's patterns in the future, which is too bad because I really like her aesthetic style and I think her patterns are well written. That is something I will have to think about, but I thought I would share that with you in case it is something that you don't want. So yeah. So that is my Wolf River sweater, and I will be working on that quite a bit in the next several weeks. My hope is to finish it before it gets too warm, even though it is a bulky weight sweater, so the likelihood of my wearing it before next fall is not good. Next up on the docket, before I get to spinning, remember this beautiful little project bag from a few weeks ago? The winner never contacted me, and it has now been 2 weeks, so I am pulling another winner. The random number generator selected Cheryl N. Pickering, so if you want to contact me, you can contact me on Ravelry. I'm Fluffy K there, or you can contact me at my email, which is ldwcameron@gmail.com. Send me your address and I will get this beautiful project bag out to you with some tea and some sweet goodies. So please contact me. Normally what I do is I wait a couple weeks, and if I don't get contacted, then I go ahead and draw for another winner. So Cheryl N. Pickering, please contact me and I will get you your prize. Next up on the docket is the yarn that I spun last week. This was a braid called Whisper. It was an 80/20 Polwar silk blend, one of my absolute favorites. It still needs a bath, so it is a little bit wonky, but this is what it looks like. It is purple and it's got some yellows and teals and greens, and I don't think the camera is going to do it justice here, but I will definitely be taking pictures. This one is for the shop. I think I got pretty good yardage on it. My guess is between 350, 375, maybe 400. I don't know how much it's going to plump up is really the issue. But there are just some beautiful colors in this one, and it's kind of, it reminds me a little bit of Mardi Gras, but it's definitely a subdued Mardi Gras. But there's so much great color in there. And I really, really love it. It's super soft. It would be perfect for next to the skin. So this will be up in the shop this week. If these are your colors, keep an eye out for them. that brings me to the next braid. I don't anticipate getting through a full braid this week because, again, I will be at Ply Away Friday and Saturday, and so I don't know how much spinning I will get done on home projects, but my plan is to start another braid from Hello Yarn. This is called Squeaky Clean, and this actually reminds me of Easter because it's got pinks and oranges and blues and yellows, and it's just a lot of fun. It is an interesting blend. It is a targi or tarhi, bamboo and silk. So it's 80% tarhi and then 10% bamboo and 10% silk. It's got kind of the lighter strands of both the silk and the bamboo in it, which make it, it'll be a little bit muted, I think, but it's got some bright and fun colors, and I'm excited to start this one, and if this looks like your cup of tea, it will be in the shop as well. So that is the spin for this week. Today, actually, I'm taking just some plain merino that I got from Louette because for the art yarn class, I am supposed to bring a bobbin full of overspun singles. So that is what I'm going to work on today, work on overspinning so that I can have those ready to go with me. That's my homework to bring, I assume, because we'll be using it like applying thread with some of the other stuff we're going to create. So I think that's it. I know it was a short podcast today, short and sweet, because I don't have a ton of stuff to show you. I'm working on bigger objects, so fewer projects, but more progress on each of them. I hope that you have had a wonderful weekend. Thank you for joining me. If this was your first time, I hope you had a good time and maybe you'll come back. And if you were joining me again, thanks for sticking with me. I hope that you have a lovely week, and next week I'll be back to talk to you about Ply Away. So until I see you again, happy knitting, happy spinning, happy sipping, and I'll see you next time. Bye!